All right, today we are going full-on digital detective. We're going to dive deep into the secrets hiding inside our phones and find out what it really takes to solve a crime in the 21st century.
So, let's set a scene you've probably seen in 100 movies. A suspect sends a really incriminating text, and then boom, they delete it. They think they're clear, right? But are they? Is that message actually gone for good, or did it just become a kind of digital ghost? Well, that's the big question at the heart of all mobile forensics.
To find the answer, we have to go way beyond the screen and start following the digital breadcrumbs, and our investigation starts right now. Okay, so first things first, in any digital investigation, you have to get the data off the device. But how you do it, well, that can make all the difference between finding your smoking gun and coming up completely empty. To really get what I'm talking about, just imagine the phone's memory as a deep well full of water. Now, you could just lower a bucket and get the water that's right at the top. Or you could figure out a way to drain the entire well to see everything that's settled at the bottom. And that little analogy brings us to the two main ways this is done. First, you've got a logical extraction. That's like dipping the bucket. It just grabs all the easy active stuff you can see, like your current texts and contacts. But then there's the physical extraction. That's like draining the well. It makes a perfect bit-for-bit copy of the entire phone's memory, including all those empty spaces where fragments of deleted data might still be lurking. For an investigator, that is where the real treasure is buried. So, let's say an investigator gets that perfect copy. They're basically inside the phone now. But it's not like looking at a nice, neat file folder on your laptop. Oh no, it's more like stepping into this incredibly complex labyrinth made of hardware. And this is what our digital crime scene actually looks like. It's a phone's main board. You can think of it as a dense little city of processors, RAM, and most important for us, memory chips. It's somewhere inside this maze that our evidence is hiding. The treasure chest in this city is a chip called NAND flash memory. This is where pretty much all of your data lives. Your texts, your photos, your GPS history, you name it. But here's the twist. NAND memory isn't built to last forever. It's designed for speed and efficiency, which means it's actually built to forget, not to remember. To deal with this, the phone has a couple of systems working in the background. The first one is called wear leveling. To make the memory chip last as long as possible, the phone is constantly shuffling data around, making sure no single part of the chip gets overworked. But for an investigator, this means their evidence is literally a moving target. And then you've got the phone's little cleanup crew, a process called garbage collection. See, when you delete a file, it doesn't get wiped right away. It just gets marked as space that's okay to overwrite. Well, garbage collection is the process that eventually comes along, finds that marked data, and erases it for good to free up space. It's a constant race against time for any investigator. So, with wear leveling moving things around and garbage collection trying to wipe them out, can that deleted message actually be recovered? Well, the answer is never a simple yes. It is, as our source material so dramatically puts it, always a resounding maybe. But okay, let's say we get lucky. We beat the cleanup crew, and we actually find fragments of that deleted message. The challenge is far from over. We can't just read it, because it's written in code, in dozens of different digital languages. I mean, does this look like a confession to you? This wild string of numbers and letters is the raw data for the question, where did you bury the body? This is what I mean. The evidence is often hidden in plain sight, just looking like total gibberish. To translate that gibberish, an examiner has to start at the very foundation of digital language: binary. At its absolute core, every single piece of data on your phone is just a long series of ones and zeros. Now, these ones and zeros are grouped together into what are called bytes. And by combining these bytes in very specific patterns, the phone can start to form more complex information, like numbers and eventually letters. And this is the key that cracks the code. A chart like this, an ASCII table, it's basically a decoder ring. It tells an examiner that the specific byte representing, say, the number 66 is actually the letter B. This is how raw robotic data gets turned back into readable human text. And it's not just one code. You've got binary, you've got hexadecimal, and you've got dozens of other ways that data can be encoded. A good digital detective has to be a polyglot, totally fluent in all of these digital languages to piece the full story together. Okay, now for the fun part. Let's see how all this comes together. We're going to look at a real-world homicide case and see how an investigator takes all these skills and actually finds the smoking gun. So in this case, Investigators grabbed a suspect's phone and did a full physical extraction. Then, they ran all that data through a very popular automated forensic software program, the kind of tool that law enforcement agencies all over the world use every single day. And here are the results. This powerful, expensive piece of software came back with just 5 text messages, and none of them were incriminating at all. For any investigator who was just relying on that software summary, this case looks like a total dead end. The suspect's probably going to walk free.
But a trained examiner knew better. They didn't just trust what the software spit out. They went digging themselves into the raw hex data, looking for fragments. And there, buried deep in the code, completely invisible to that automated scan, they found it. A deleted message fragment that simply says, "Kill Joey." That's the smoking gun.
This case really shows you the most important lesson in all of digital forensics. The technology is powerful, for sure, but it is not foolproof. The difference between a cold case and a conviction wasn't the software, it was the skilled human detective who knew where to look and what language all the secrets were written in.
At the end of the day, the world of digital forensics is really this high-stakes game of cat and mouse. As our phones get more and more complex and secure, investigators have to constantly evolve and adapt their techniques. It's a field where the human element, that mix of curiosity, expertise, and sheer persistence, is still the most powerful tool of all.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Every time you delete a photo or a note or a text message, you're not really destroying it. You might just be creating a little digital ghost. And that leaves us with one final, kind of spooky question. What ghosts are hiding in your pocket?